A population is a group being studied. It includes all the people that meet the criteria to be in the study. In reality, we quite often can't survey an entire population, so we pick a sample of the population. A sample is a smaller piece of the general population. Ideally, it is randomly selected, but in reality, it's often not possible to randomly select a sample, especially in nursing research. Randomness. Is it possible to randomly select participants? Well, to do so, it quite often takes money and time, and we have to consider what setting is available and who works there. Do you want to make a prediction based on the results? If so, you should try and use a random sample. Do you want to generalize your results to a larger population? Again, you need a random sample to do this. External validity is generalizability. What does all that mean? It means the ability to take the results from one study and apply it to a different group of people. In order for a research study to be truly useful, we need to be able to take the information gleaned from the study and use it in our sphere of work. That means we need external validity. That's why randomness and all these other sampling things that we're going to talk about are important when we talk about looking at a research article and deciding, can we use it where we work? What influences external validity? Among other things, sampling. The techniques used and the size of the sample all influence external validity or generalizability. Sample size. The number of participants in a research study will influence how confident you can be about the results. The larger the sample, the more sure you can be that the response truly reflects how the entire population would respond. Can you, as an individual, speak for everyone in your race? Can the results of 10 people surveyed truly reflect the responses for the entire race? Wouldn't a sample of 10,000 give a more accurate picture? The larger the sample, the less likely it is to be biased. In other words, the more likely the sample is to truly represent the population. The larger the sample, the more precise the results. In other words, the more likely they are to truly represent the results of the entire population. In reading a research article, we're looking at who is actually in the sample. We're looking at the criteria for participation. Who was in the sample and who was out of the sample. Who was included and who was excluded. As an example, when looking at the population of nursing students planning to go to graduate school, we use the inclusion criteria of all nursing students going to a 4-year BSN program. And as an exclusion criteria, those who entered the BSN program when they were 21 years or older. Sampling technique. After setting the sampling criteria, the inclusion and exclusion criteria, we choose a sampling technique. That is, the technique we use for picking who's actually going to be in the sample. One of our first questions is, will the study be qualitative or quantitative? Qualitative research is research done to try and understand a phenomenon from the point of view of the participants. So it's important to select a sample that truly represents that population. It's looking for richness of information. Let's think about the previously mentioned research. Nursing students in a bachelor's program who are planning to go to graduate school. Well, a qualitative study would not be looking at how many students want to go to graduate school. It would be looking at the characteristics of who is it that wants to go and why is it they want to go. The sampling technique would be to say, okay, who wants to go to graduate school? You want to go? Come on and talk to me. Let's talk about why you want to go, what you expect out of it, all of that, and having a conversation about it. Qualitative sampling, therefore, will use things like snowball sampling or purposive sampling, going directly to the people who have the characteristic or the value or the belief or the goal and talking to them. Quantitative research, it is important to avoid bias. You want to be able to generalize your results to the general population. The goal is to be able to predict. And remember, with quantitative, we're looking at numbers. So, nursing students who are going to go to graduate school, this is the one where you would ask, you would have a survey or a questionnaire or something else, and you would look at everyone in the nursing program and survey all of them, or a random sample of people who are in bachelor's program, and ask them, do you plan to go? And you might have some multiple choice type questions or some other kind of questions that we can reduce down to numbers. And it is important for this type, for quantitative studies, to try, if at all possible, to get a random sample.